WWE Bad Blood could be a massive show. This is early predictions here, so one of the first matches I think we are going to get, it's heavily rumored, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. The question mark is going to be, what is the match stipulation? A lot of people are assuming we are going to get a Hell in a Cell match as kind of the blow off for this whole thing. I have loved this entire feud, the involvement of Seth Rollins. Everything about it has just kind of clicked for me for a very long-term story that's taking like almost a full year for them to tell. Will this be the blow off though? You guys comment below, let me know what you think. For me, it's not. I think that they will do this third match. Bad Blood feels very fitting for it. Honestly, I think that based on the predictions we'll make here for the match card, I think Punk versus Drew should probably main event the show itself. A Hell in a Cell match, I can totally see, and I will be very happy with it because, you know, Triple H, he brings back the old Hell in a Cell. He doesn't do the red one. So it would be very fitting for this feud if they did that. You can do a ton of weapons, a lot of shenanigans. They don't have to like wrestle a ton in case they're worried about injury. I think this match will happen. I hope it main events Bad Blood. The only other option I see, and I hope they do this, and they haven't done it in forever. In fact, Triple H may have been even like one of the last people to even do this type of match. 3 stages of hell. It's Bad Blood. And it's a blow off. And 3 stages of hell, this being the third match in their feud, I feel that that type of match would be so fitting. You can give them 30 minutes to do this whole thing to 45 minutes, and you can tell a really cool story where you can have a straight up one-on-one match, and then you can go into a no DQ match, and if they get to a third fall, you do Hell in a Cell, which everyone knows that they would get to Hell in a Cell, but it would be the story along the way. And think about it too, with the way their first 2 matches went, you got the first one with special guest referee, you got a strap match, and with a strap match, you're kind of waiting towards the end of it, but they did tell with both matches, they told a really compelling story in the ring, dealing with the bracelet, the special guest referee match with Seth, and Punk getting distracted and Drew getting the win there because he's so fixated on it, and then the strap match happened. I do feel like this next one, they could tell a really interesting story now that Drew has just destroyed the bracelet. It's not a factor anymore. Now, there are a lot of possible matches to get at Bad Blood, and it's in October. So we got some time for WWE to build this, but I started going through like all of the titles, all of the champions, the feuds going on right now, and what could make it onto the card. Because you know Triple H only likes to do like 5 matches on PLE, and he uses Raw and SmackDown go-homes as almost the pre-show now. So for the main show, the other rumored match is going to be Cody versus Solo. And we say that because Solo Sikoa has said that, hey, whoever is champion after Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes match at Bash in Berlin, I am going to be next in line and I'm going after title. So are we going to get Solo part 2 with Cody? I hope not, honestly. I mean, I would have thought, okay, are they going to build up Roman versus Solo for this match at Bad Blood? Because I feel like that would have been pretty fitting. Does not seem to be that way at all. In fact, I think that if they did do Roman Solo now at Bad Blood, I feel like it'd almost be rushed because we haven't seen or heard of Roman do anything about this. He's just done the beatdowns and he's disappeared. So I think that they will do another match at Bad Blood. You can't gimmick it up too much if you're going to do like a Hell in a Cell as well. So I don't think they'll do tribal rules, tribal warfare with Cody and Solo, but they got to give it some kind of stipulation. You had the one-on-one, and frankly, when they did that one-on-one match, I think a lot of us were just waiting for Roman to return. So the match kind of felt a little flat. I think you got to do something different. Maybe just do like a backstage brawl or something. Like just do a no-holds-barred match. But I do worry that you gimmick this thing up too much when you have other matches on the card kind of doing similar things. And if you have Cody and Solo, is that going to main event? Whereas I think Punk and Drew should be the main event of that card. Or maybe they don't even do it. Maybe they are not going to do Cody and Solo at Bad Blood. Maybe they're going to save it because they do like to rotate things around. Speaking of that, we may or may not get Gunther versus Sami Zayn at Bad Blood. And I say that because we might get this match on the Raw before Bad Blood, and they give Gunther kind of a break for the PLEs. They might put it on the card, but I feel like it's just kind of rushed. Sami came out on Monday Night Raw, challenging Gunther. You know you're going to get this match, and it's just going to be Gunther winning and retaining. I don't know if you need that at Bad Blood or not. And you got such a limited time and number of matches on the card. What do you think? For me, I could see them doing it. Triple H really likes Gunther, but if you're going to have Cody and Solo on the card, do you really need another world title? Plus, you haven't even had any women's matches on the card. But a potential match there is Gunther and Sami, with Gunther going over and retaining. The question mark for me is going to be, who is the next challenger for Gunther? Who are they going to build up? Punk has teased that he wants to go after Gunther. Maybe that is going to be either a crown jewel match or Survivor Series. You never know. Then I started wondering on the women's side. You got title belts. You got titles to defend. And they need to get the women's matches. But Triple H seems to like to rotate the number of women's matches, title matches on the card. Like on Bash of Berlin, we had the women's tag team titles. But Nia Jax didn't defend her title, and nor did Liv Morgan because she was in the mixed tag team match. At this one, you gotta think with everything they have built, you're gonna get Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley one-on-one. Now, assuming this match happens at Bad Blood, and it is for the women's world title, I don't think Rhea gets it. I think what you could do, and I started to sit on this a little bit and thinking, how do they get out of it? Because the biggest thing for me with this Judgment Day storyline and the Terror Twins and all this stuff is that they have built up Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley to be so powerful, and they have made Judgment Day look foolish. They just look like jobbers. They have had no momentum, and they lost at Bash in Berlin, which is okay, but I thought immediately they would get all of their heat back, and they didn't. They just keep getting dominated. So I think they need to change it up. Rhea just completely makes Liv look like a fool, and they're always scared, and Dom's always scared. Bad Blood, if we do get Rhea versus Liv, I think what you do is you have to have some kind of wonk finish. I think Liv retains the title. I do think that the final culminating match will be WrestleMania for Liv and Rhea to get that title finally off of Liv Morgan. They can tell the story for a long time, but they gotta get Judgment Day more heat and feel more dominant and put Rhea and Damian Priest in peril. Like, they could lose. One of my things that I predict here, what they could do is Raquel Rodriguez. Her name was dropped by Liv recently, I think, on TV, and I started to think they've been tag partners before. I think a great foil for Rhea Ripley in the interim is have Raquel Rodriguez join Judgment Day, and she can be the heater for Liv Morgan and basically Dominic Mysterio as well. It adds a little bit layer of interference. If you incorporate someone like Raquel, she comes back and she beats down, and they do the WWE thing, which is like a hoodie, a black hoodie, and then she she takes the hoodie off, like Drew McIntyre did on Raw. It's like, it's Drew McIntyre. So you could do Raquel coming into the match, and if Rhea was about to win, Raquel interferes, you do a power bomb, destroy her. She needs to be the Diesel. She needs to be Kevin Nash kind of style, like just giant jackknife power bombs to Rhea Ripley and decimate her. And then you've added more depth to Judgment Day, and you give them a little bit more power. So I do think Liv retains, though, even if we don't get like a Raquel, but I like to see something like that. Now, the other women's match, you got Nia Jax, WWE champion. I like Nia Jax's character and what she's done so far, because since winning Queen of the Ring and becoming champion, it's working for me. She's a dominant heel, but I feel like she doesn't really have much of a program right now. Her program is Tiffany Stratton turning on her, not turning on her, and that's the dynamic and the main focus. Bayley has come back and run interference. You might see them play back again, Bayley versus Nia Jax, but do we really need that? And would that even make it on the card for Bad Blood? Because it's just such fine air, like they don't give it up. So if Nia doesn't have a really strong program right now, she had the street fight with Michi and Mia Yim, which I really liked, and I wish that was at Bash, but I don't think that she's in anything right now where I'm kind of going, oh, that should make it to the PLE. So I don't think Nia actually makes it on the card, unfortunately. That would be another month where she's not on the main PLE, and I think she needs to be, but I don't see it. And same with LA Knight. I love LA Knight. Yeah, I look like a Wish version of LA Knight that apparently doesn't even do a push-up. But LA Knight is kind of in a similar boat. Wasn't on the PLE last time, did an open challenge, huge pop when he went up against Kaiser. I don't see LA Knight on the card, unless they want to do a US Open challenge again at the PLE. And I think you gotta give fans that, not on the SmackDown before. LA Knight is the United States champion. He has massive reactions, but they haven't built a program. He's in with Escobar right now. He's not doing much of anything. So they could mix it up. If I did get LA Knight on the main card, I would do the US Open challenge, and I would have AJ Styles come back and challenge him once again and get them into a multi-month program. I just don't see anybody fighting LA Knight right now. It's so thin on SmackDown. Okay, but then another match that I hope they put this on the PLE. And I'm gonna say they'll put the title up there. Braun Breaker, Intercontinental Championship match, Braun Breaker going up against the winner of the tournament, which feels like it's Jey Uso. If they're gonna pull the trigger on this, they could do Ilya, but they've done Ilya so many times. And Ilya and Braun Breaker is fun, but you've done that match a lot. I kind of think like you gotta do Jey Uso. They had a backstage segment together. It would make a lot of sense. The problem I have with Breaker and Jey Uso, number one, They were teasing Jay and Sami Zayn as a tag team, but now that is on hold or not doing that yet, so that they got Jay going after the IC title, Sami going after the world title. Maybe they'll both lose and then come back and go for tag belts, which I thought was going to be the whole plan. But if it's going to be Jay versus Braun Breaker, I think it's a fun match. I think it'd be excellent, but I don't see Jay winning. And that's the problem here with Jey Uso. He's main event Jey Uso. He loses all the time. All the time. He won the tag team match on Raw, but he doesn't win big matches. He loses the feuds. He loses these big time matches that he's in, these programs, and then he just moves on to the next thing. Unless they're going to tease something with Bloodline or Roman talks to Jay backstage and they have a little moment, that could be the one thing they do to make it more interesting after Jay loses an IC title match. So I think you got to get a title on there. You got to get a mid-card title on that show. Breaker, Jey Uso is my prediction. Breaker wins. Now the other match on Raw that we haven't seen yet probably should be at Bad Blood, but I don't know if it'd be too much of an overload. Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. They haven't had the one-on-one match yet together, and I think that they're just trying to save it. But is it too much if you're gonna have potentially Rhea and Liv on the card, and then you're gonna do another Judgment Day match? I don't know if we need that yet. I almost think that you could save it and do it at Survivor Series of having Priest versus Balor, or you're going to do Terror Twins with Jay and Sami or something going up against Judgment Day. And maybe that's what they do at Survivor Series. But Priest and Finn almost feel like they need to save it. Because right now, if I had IC title match, Punk, Drew, Cody, Solo, I got 3 Liv, Rhea, that's 4. I don't know if the 5th match would be Priest versus Finn. We will see it, but that feels like they need to get it going, get a little bit more heat with it. So I'm gonna say it's not on the card. Finn's also one half of the tag team champions. They lost on Raw. Like, I don't know what's going on. And speaking of which, tag team titles. No. Nope. I gotta do a whole other topic when we're talking about tag team titles, both Raw and SmackDown. They have done nothing with these belts. They're never on the PLEs. They're never defended. And they're not in any feuds. So I really don't think we're going to see tag team titles defended at the PLE, and they should be, but they're not in any big programs that warrant the PLE. And the women's tag team titles, they just were at Bash in Berlin. I don't think that they're going to make it to Bad Blood to do another tag team title match. So that's where I feel like you either need Nia to get on the card, or you're going to do Gunther Sami, or you're going to do Priest and Finn as the 5th match. But what about before that? They love the go homes and they try to set them up as almost the pre-show for the PLE, like we said. On those pre-shows, I could see a couple of matches here. If I don't get Nia Jax at Bad Blood, I could see on the next episode of SmackDown coming up, they move to USA Network. And I think that they want to do a big bang when it comes to, not the big bang, the show, but they could do a big push for that show and make it really stand out. They need star power. And one thing I could see them doing, and that would get Nia Jax maybe even on the card for Bad Blood. You get a returning Charlotte Flair on SmackDown. Big return, big surprise. We haven't seen Charlotte in so long because of her injury, and if she's ready to go, it'd be a good spot to kind of put her in to be a big opponent with Nia Jax, someone who they've had history together with, and it would be a match that they could easily thrust into Bad Blood. Nia would need to retain, but could be the cash-in of Tiffany Stratton, you never know. Or they put it as the go-home match on SmackDown to main event that show where you have Nia and Charlotte Flair going one-on-one and then shenanigans ensue at the very end of the thing. Tag team title match. The Bloodline are your tag team champions. I don't see them defending it on Bad Blood, but I do see them maybe doing something on SmackDown before. They could have a rematch with DIY, the Street Profits. They could do something in there if they want to be able to just get them on TV right before the PLE. The other match you could see on the Raw go home, or they could put it on SmackDown if they wanted to, but it would be the women's tag team titles, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill going up against Damage Control. I think they could do that match, and that would either be, again, the go home on Raw, and that would spice things up a bit over there because you haven't really had the women's tag titles defended on Raw yet. So switching over there could work, and you do that for a Raw go home. And also with that, I love the feud that they're doing with Andrade and Carmelo. I think that they could extend this thing and probably give you that as maybe the main event of SmackDown as the go home for Bad Blood. If they don't get it on the card, they should just put that match on the card. If they do it as like the blow off, it would make sense and fitting for the program. And a great 15-minute match between these two. The crowd would probably love it if you had that, especially as like the opening match, but I could totally see it on the SmackDown go home. I predict that you're going to get Andrade, Carmelo, go home SmackDown to kind of end their feud. But I'm excited for Bad Blood. It's gonna be a good show. But if you guys want to, we got another video talking about kind of the issue and the dilemma with the WWE championships, the world title and the WWE title with Cody, and who's gonna kind of dethrone them over the course of the year. So click this video right here if you want to check it out. Have a great day. See ya.